Hey, Mr. Harper here for part 4 of our escape room or escape game. So we have our basics of our simple game here. We click the green flag. We have a title. It says escape game. We can click this. Opens up to a new backdrop with some clues. We have some clues by clicking different objects. I believe this is going to be ECGI. Then it switches here. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to write a riddle on the screen and I'm going to hide it. And so we're going to start with that. So we're going to go click here, choose a sprite, and we're going to click paint. And, well, let's first make a flashlight. So I'm going to click the circle tool. I'm going to change the color to white. And I'm going to go like this. And you do want to center this sprite, so make sure it's centered. Okay. And you do want this to be a white background. And you'll understand why whenever we make our secret message, you're going to need this white circle here to actually show that message that we're going to hide here in this backdrop. Okay. I'm actually going to name this sprite instead of sprite 2. I'm going to click right down here where it says sprite. You can rename your sprite. I'm just going to call this flashlight. Okay. And I'm going to go back to code. And every sprite that I add, we're going to want to hide that sprite when we click the green flag. If not, it's going to show when it's not supposed to. Okay. And I'm going to add a message. So I'm going to actually click this paint tool. And I'm going to go text. And I'm going to switch the color of the text so that I can see it. I'm going to make it black first, and I'll show you how to change the color later because we're going to want to actually change this to this color blue. But anyway, I'm going to click this, and I'm going to just type in my riddle. So my riddle is going to be what gets wetter the more it dries. So that's a simple riddle. And you can find riddles online. I highly encourage you to do that. So that's going to be too big. Let's make it short so that it fits on the screen. A little bit more. There we go. I want to center this. And I'm going to move this so that it stays there. So whatever riddle you type, make sure it appears on the screen. And what I'm going to do, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to hide this sprite. Oh, before we hide it, I almost forgot. We want to make this text colored this color blue. So what we're going to do, real important, first you're going to have to click on your stage and make sure you have this night blue sky backdrop pulled up. And we're going to go to colors, but instead of picking a color, we're going to just, instead of actually changing the colors like this, we're just going to use the color picker. And I'm going to pick the color by clicking in here, and that changes the color. Now I'm going to go back to my sprite 2, and I'm going to click my paint tool, and I'm going to click the text to make it change colors. So now, as you can tell, you cannot see the text because it's the same color as the backdrop. It's like one of those cool little tricks you can do. So I'm going to click back on sprite 2, and I'm going to actually change this sprite to say riddle. Okay. So we're going to make the riddle hide. Looks when we click the green flag. And let's go ahead, since we're here, we're going to also make the riddle show when the backdrop switches to blue sky, because that's when we want it to show. So I'm going to go ahead and go looks and tell it to show. We don't want our flashlight to show automatically because we're going to make our actual player click on something to open this. Okay, so let's add something for the player to click on, and I'm just going to add a pencil. There we go. I can move this where I want it. And we're going to add the same code. We're going to hide this sprite when we click the green flag. There we go. And we're going to go to events, and we're going to have this sprite show when backdrop switches to blue sky 2. So we're going to go looks and show. Now what we want to happen is when we click this pencil, we want the flashlight to show. So the only way to do that is to actually go when this sprite is clicked. We're going to broadcast a message. So we're going to go to broadcast, and we're just going to do new message, and we're going to go flashlight. Just simple. Okay. Now when I go back on my flashlight, I'm going to tell my flashlight when I receive flashlight to show. So the last thing we're going to do, well, one of the last things we're going to do, we're going to go forever motion, and we're going to have this flashlight go to, instead of a random position, let's have it go to my mouse pointer. And let's see, let's do this. Let's test this code. ECGI, like this. Okay, so it's going to my mouse pointer, but as you can see, I can't see the text. The riddle text isn't showing up, and that's because our sprite is not going to the back. So we're going to go to looks, and we're going to get one of these, go to the front layer blocks, but we want it to go to the back. And I'm going to test my code again just to see if it works. And you may notice I am testing my code. It's a really good idea to test your code often, because if there's a mistake, it's better to know it right then and there than to find out later. So now when I click this, there we go. So you can see the riddle. So what I'm going to want to do is I want to get rid of this. I don't want this flashlight sprite to keep showing. So I'm going to just very simply, when this sprite is clicked, I'm going to hide the flashlight sprite. So there we go. If I click this, it shows up. I click it again, it goes away. All right, so now we need to have a way for the user to answer the riddle. So we're going to click on our riddle, and we're going to very simply add code here. So we're going to go to control, and when backdrop switches to blue sky 2, I'm going to want it to show, and we're going to repeatedly ask a question. So we're going to go ask a question, what's your name? And we're going to say, what's the answer, or what is the answer to the riddle? Okay, and we're going to do this until, that's what repeat until means. We're going to do this until the answer. So let's click on answer, and let's get, or sensing, I'm sorry, and let's get this answer block. And I'm just going to type in towel. Be very careful. So if you type in a towel with a period, that means they have to type in a towel with a period. I'm just going to do a towel. Just make it interesting, make them have to type in 2 words. You can have them type in just the word towel, but I'm going to do 2 words here. And let's make this a little more complicated. I'm just going to do a hint there. 5, 6 letters. Okay. And now I'm going to run this code by clicking this script, and it will run. What is the answer to the riddle? Hint, there are 6 letters. Let's see here. So if I click this, what gets redder the more it dries? If I type in the wrong answer, like Billy, press enter, it's just going to keep answering the question. It's just going to keep asking the question until the answer equals a tau. So if I type in tau, it goes away. Well, what I want it to do is I want to add another backdrop. And I'm going to go outdoors. Let's do, we're going to go to basketball court, a beach. No, I think we're going to go to school. Yeah, why not? School looks good. So as you can tell, I'm going to actually switch this back. I'm going to click on backdrops to switch this back to blue sky. I'm going to click on my flashlight. And I'm going to run this code. So let's go to my riddle first. Well, let's just test this code from the start. ECGI. So it goes here, what's the answer to a riddle. And before we do this, we'll want to actually tell the code to switch the backdrop. So let me add that, switch backdrop to school. And we're going to type in a tau. There we go. So we do have some problems here. As you can tell, our riddle shows up. So let us go ahead and hide our riddle by using our events. When backdrop switches to school, we're just going to tell it to hide. And let's do the same thing with the pencil. I can just duplicate this code, switch that to school, and instead of show, let's hide it. And we're going to do the same thing because I can actually go through this and I'll show you. I can click this and I can type in a tau, and you'll notice this is still here. So we don't want that. So we're going to add the same code here. When backdrop switches to school, we want this to hide. So that makes it pretty simple. So the last thing I'm going to do, since we've done, you can add some more riddles. You can add some more things to hide and ask the user a question to get to the next level, or you can make your game end. You can go back and add more riddles to your game, but I'm just going to make my game end. So I'm just going to go click on Casey, and since we started with Casey, let's just end with Casey. So when backdrop switches to school, I'm going to have Casey show, and he's going to, let's go to looks, I'm going to have him say, you escaped. Now go to school. If you really want to get cool with this, we can have him actually say that too. So let's have him speak it and say it for about 3 seconds. So now let's run our program. I'm going to make it full screen.
You escaped. Now go to school.
And that's it. That's our game. It's over. So I guess after we do this, after Casey says that for 3 seconds, let's make him hide. That way we don't have to start over again. So that is the end of this video. I apologize, it's a little long, but you should have your game made. What I would like for you to do is go back and maybe add a few more clues, make your riddles harder, add another level. Your game doesn't have to end, but I do look forward to playing your game. Goodbye.